holding long lenses, where to photograph lions in Africa, and also, should you really post that image? It's a question a lot of people ask themselves. I discuss all of that and more in episode 45. Here we go. Hi guys, my name is Gerry. I'm from Wild Eye, and this is episode 45, number 45 of the Wildlife Photography Q&A video series in which I answer your wildlife photography questions. Been a hell of a week. I don't know what day it is. I think it's Wednesday today, and we're in full prep mode for our wildlife photography seminar starting next week, Monday. So from the 4th to the 9th of April, the entire Wild Eye team will be up at the Sabi Sabi Private Game Reserve hosting a wildlife photography seminar. So I just sent through schedules and stuff earlier today. Exciting stuff. Game drives intermingled with presentations from me and the team, and it's phenomenal. Really is cool. For those of you that can't be there, there is another one in November, by the way, but you can follow along on Snapchat and Instagram. We're going to be posting a lot of content from the field, and also using the hashtag Seminar2016, which you can follow on Twitter, Instagram, and then, like I said, Snapchat's huge because of the storytelling medium thereof. So follow there, follow along. It's going to be great. And for those of you that have been following on Snapchat, I've kind of been doing behind the scenes, what it takes to run a safari business, day-to-day life, kind of go training in the morning, the dogs, whatever. But the power of this for what I do is really going to come out when we go back on safari with it. Live from the field, clips of leopards, images of people on photo safari, so you'll get a very good idea of what it's about. Now, also just if you are on Snapchat following me, you'll see that earlier today I posted, not a rant, but just some thoughts on how there's suddenly a lot of wildlife photographers running safaris, trying to sell prints and stuff. Suddenly they're jumping onto social and they're sharing all these images, and they're thinking that by sharing just your images, suddenly people are going to come running to buy what you do or go on safari with you. No, it doesn't work that way, guys. It's the social media platforms. It's not a thing. It's not a part of social media and the internet. It's all the same thing. This is how people are communicating. So you can't just jump in suddenly, do a little bit of posting and think, holy hell, my business is going to explode. It takes a lot of time, a lot of energy. It's a lot of investment of you in order to make it work. So it's just a strange thing. I don't know what article some people read now that everybody's suddenly jumping on trying to hack it. Hack's not going to work. Put in the time, do it right, be consistent, be authentic, and then you're going to win on social. Sorry, little rant that I pulled off from Snapchat, but go and check out Snapchat and you'll kind of see where all of this is going. It's just, people think of it as a quick fix. It's not a quick fix. The reason that I'm getting the attention online is because it's not because of these videos or whatever. It's because of 6, 7, 8, almost 8 years now of putting the hard work in and doing these things online. So the quick fix ain't gonna work, guys. Get in there, do the hard graft. That'll work. Anyway, rant over. Where we at? Episode 45. 3 questions, 1 image crit starts now.
Schroederville from Twitter asked, I've got a question. I'm planning my first trip to Africa ever, and I want to see lions in the wild. Where is the best place to see them?
Schroederville, very exciting that you're planning your first African safari. It's always great, but it can be quite daunting based on the amount of options out there. God, I mean, if you type in on Google African safari, you're probably going to get millions of options. Some of them great, others not so much. So the important thing is, and I tell this to clients all the time, especially private guided clients. I get an inquiry for private guiding, which is where I take those people privately on a safari. Then I send them a list and say, what species do you want to photograph? What is your budget, which is obviously important? Which time of year, and do you have any specific countries you want to visit? So just to photograph lions, there's very few big 5 reserves where you're going to not see good lion. The problem is you need to look at the entire experience. Number one, if your budget is uncapped, if you will, I can very easily help you. We'll go to places like Sabi Sabi, Londolozi, Singita, Mala Mala, where we know we'll have intimate experiences with the big cats and other big 5. And also photographically, what do you want to photograph? Because a cat, a big lion, a big cat or a lion in the Sabi Sands photographs very differently to a big cat in the Masai Mara, for example. The backgrounds are different, the open spaces are different. So if we cut this down to basics, Sabi Sands for cats, brilliant. Leopard, yes. Lions, yes. If you're looking at an amazing all-round wildlife experience with big cats, Masai Mara is great to go to. You also get, but then again, you need to take it a level further and say, how many vehicles and stuff do you want together? Sometimes Masai Mara can be quite busy. If you manage it properly, like we try and do in our safaris, it's not that bad. So, base level Schroederville, I would reckon South Africa, Sabi Sands, Madikwe is good, and then into Kenya and Tanzania. I mean, if you guys go and look at my website, gerryvanderwalt.com, finally live, still working on new images, but go and look at the Ndutu gallery on there. It was a migration safari in Tanzania, but we saw an incredible amount of lions in trees, under trees with rainbows. It was fantastic. So, if you need help planning that safari, Schroederville, drop me an email. Here it is. And I will gladly guide you in the right direction. Even if you don't travel with me, I'd love you to, but if you don't, I will still just guide you in the right direction to make sure you experience the best of Africa. But lions, any big 5 reserve, worth their salt, you should get some pretty decent sightings.
Rebecca from Snapchat asked, Gerry, as per a comment on one of your Instagram photos, is there a right way to hold a long lens? If I'm photographing, for example, an event speaker and waiting for the right moment to take the shot, I change how I hold it to give my wrist a break as one position gets painful. Has never occurred to me, and I've never been taught of a specific way to hold a long lens.
Rebecca, I forgot about this question. I pulled this off Snapchat and you and I had a bit of a discussion on it on Snapchat. See, I'm mentioning it a lot. Just going to digress for a moment. Some big updates happen on Snapchat, making it an even more powerful platform. Guys, get on there as soon as you can and follow me. How to hold a lens. So where this came from is I posted a video clip or something on my Instagram account where it showed some guests on safari and we're photographing lions, and someone commented on there that you need to hold the lens in this specific manner. Okay, so that's where Rebecca's question comes from. And I think, yeah, there's some arguments to be made for stability and shutter speed and everything and so on and so forth, but in the same breath, each to his own. Right, so I've got this one here. So I think, if I remember correctly, in the post you mentioned, Rebecca, the photographer was holding the lens like this, photographing, yeah? Which is fine for a small lens. If you hold here, this is, if I teaching people off basics, I would say hold and cradle because it's stable, and then photograph. And then photograph, yeah? So on a small lens, it's fine. It's when you start getting to the bigger lenses where it's going to become difficult. Actually, hold that thought. Just thinking here. Stand by one. I'll be back now. It's when you start looking at bigger lenses and, okay, I'm back. And you start looking at lenses like this, right? That's a Nikon 600, the previous version. I think it's about 5 or 6 kilos. Let me take the hood off. So if you're going to hold this lens, see, I can't even take the hood off with one hand. If I take, so that normally comes in the front, so it becomes even bigger, yeah? So for this, the easy way here is to cradle and hold and then photograph from the back. Your camera sits here. You're going to struggle to hold this thing. I can't even do it, not trained. Doing it like this, it's going to move around and you're going to get soft images and things. So, Rebecca, it is personal choice. And like you said, you sometimes photograph in a certain way for a long time, it gets sore, you're going to change. Absolutely. At the end of the day, and this comes back to technical, creative, people bitch and moan about this, that, you must shoot this brand, you must shoot that shutter speed. When you look at someone's final images, that's all that counts. Is look at the image, does it work, yes or no? I couldn't give a shit how you held your lens as long as the image works. But from a practical point of view, especially with big lenses like this thing, cradle it, hold, it's more stable, and then you can shoot from there. Obviously, not everybody wants to handhold that thing, but if you can, handhold there, shoot. That's probably the best way to do it.
Janine asked on email, actually not a question, just a statement, but I'm sure there's a lot of photographers, amateurs and professionals that might feel the same. What if this image is not good enough? That moment you hesitate before posting the image with this question in mind. Are you prepared to take the risk? Your good intentions of sharing your image, which you feel is good enough because you like it and it's a moment in time that you treasure, versus getting bad responses from followers, public, other photographers in your photography network. I sometimes feel as a photographer you are as good as your last image. And finally, all this can contribute to losing your photography mojo.
Janine, thank you so much. This is a very, very interesting question. And again, it scratches open a few things, from social to social media, to the photography side of it, to how you approach your craft, to how you share your craft, and so on and so forth. For those of you on Snapchat, go and follow Janine as well. Some nice snaps going out there. Very cool. My dad used to say to me many years ago just your question on if you're about to post that image and you're not sure if it's good enough. My dad used to tell me when I was younger, he said, you know what, if you're not sure whether you're right or wrong, you're probably wrong. Okay. At the time I thought, man, what do you know? You're an adult, you're old, you don't know these things, but there's value there. I did a video, and I'll try and put the link down here if I remember for you, where someone also asked is, when do they know their images are good enough to share, period? Not just per post for someone like you guys watching this, but when is it good enough to post? The thing is, yes, you are as good as your last image, I get that. But you're also a brand, you're a bigger picture, you're creating a style. Yeah, and this is another one I spoke to someone about recently on Safari, is not every image you take can and will be a hero image. Doesn't work like that. Doesn't work like that in sport, life, or in photography. You cannot, if you're a sportsman, play at your peak every single time. Yeah? You, as a photographer, cannot create great images every single time. We have hero shots, and those are the 1 in a million things where everything just works. Luck comes into play, you nail it, the animal does what they're supposed to do. Then those are easy to post. It's the ones that are underneath that, not the hero images, but the good, solid portfolio stuff that social media has created this thing where people think that if you don't get 500 likes or comments on an image, it's bad. It's not bad. It's just reality. That's just what it is. Every single thing in photography, art, you get these waves up and down. Sometimes you're up, sometimes you're down. If your average is good enough to post, go for it. Now, Janine, if you're sitting there thinking, should I post this or not? If you are so uncertain, don't do it. Just don't do it. If, however, you like that image and you don't care what people think, and this is such a liberating, great mindset to have, is not to care what people think. My mom, speaking about the folks quite a bit today, my mom used to tell me this as well, is one day you'll understand what it's like not to care what people think. Now, I'm there now. Couldn't give a shit. So the important thing is, as a photographer, is if you like that image, if you think this image is what I wanted to show of that specific scene, this image has been processed as best as I can, to the best of my ability, and I want to put this out there because I like it. If you can get to that point, you're going to win. Because then, even if you get 2 likes on that image, those 2 likes are real. Those are people who enjoy and can relate to your type of images. Not everybody's going to like all of your images. It's not going to happen. And I get that, yes, you could be as good as your last image. That, however, I think the people who approach you and your images like that, you shouldn't care about. Because that's just fickle. I think if you can post them because you like them and you're truly, truly appreciative and grateful for every single like and comment, then the whole psychology changes. Then it becomes more of a thing of you can focus on what you want to create and then put it out there. And that, I think, is going to go for the win. At the end of your, I'm just trying to think, at the end of your question here, actually, let me just pull this up. I can't remember what you had. Little last image, finally contribute to the mojo. Yeah, I get mojo. See, mojo is another interesting thing, is you go through, I'm personally at this stage right now where I'm struggling to process my images. I go and sit in front of Lightroom and I think, Jesus, I can't do this. And you look for a while and you move a few slides around, I can't. So what do? I walk away. I can't be bothered right now. But with that up and down, that wave, I'll get back there and then I'll start processing some of the content from the last 6 months. That's how far I am behind. But if you have a checklist for yourself, like you say, and you want to do X, Y, and Z, yeah, before you post it, that's cool. But that falls into the technical side of photography. That would be, don't over edit, do this, noise reduction, da 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 da. And I think I mentioned it earlier, is people aren't going to look at an image and say, yo, this is beautiful contrast combined with the right amount of sharpening, combined with the right composition. They're either going to like it or they're not. It's as simple as that. So if you need the checklist, Jalene, go for it. Absolutely, it'll work. But I do think at the end of the day, you need to be true to yourself. You need to think about what you want to do and the images you want to put out. And if you put them out there and people don't like it, hey, too bad. Then it's one of those things. However, you will get those hero shots and you'll know them. You'll know very well when you put a hero shot out there and everybody will jump on the bandwagon like, because it's a viral thing and it'll go around and people will all see it. Stay true to yourself. Interesting question. And one I think that comes up more often than not on safaris and on workshops, where people ask this question, but in a different way. Go and watch the video link, which I'll put in the description on Facebook and YouTube. Go and watch that. It's a video I posted a year or so ago to a very similar question. I think that'll help as well.
Patrick asked on email, my family decided to have a dinner at one of the bomas situated on the Ingwelala Game Reserve, which forms part of the Greater Kruger region. A Genet came to inspect us and I decided to shine my handheld torch, which illuminated him quite a bit as he was that close. I figured it made for a great black and white conversion.
So, image crit time. What I said a couple of episodes ago is that you guys send me some images. I'll choose one per episode right at the end. We'll talk through it to see what we can learn from it, what's good, what's bad, what could be better, and then we go from there. So, Patrick, thank you for sending your image in. We've been speaking on Snapchat and Instagram quite a bit, and it's nice that you send your image in. Thank you so much. This is the image that Patrick sent in. So, overall, I like the monochrome conversion on this, but there's a couple of things here, Patrick. I would look at pushing your exposure a little bit up. Make that thing brighter. The thing with the monochrome is that you need quite a bit of contrast between the bright areas of the image and the darker area of the image. If you could, for example, lift this entire image and then add a soft vignette around the outside, it'll make that animal pop even more. Direction in which you're looking is great. You couldn't affect that, but what I would have liked is if that animal was looking a little bit further over its shoulder to get more of the eye. However, that said, the animal looking into the left, into the open space, is good use of space. So overall, executed with a handheld light's pretty good, but I would look at the processing side of it and just punch it more. Be more, what's the word I'm looking for? Be more intentional with the processing of this image. But overall, it's good. So I just ran a quick process. I might push it to this level. That's kind of what I would take it to. I don't know if you cropped this. Might be interesting to see how the cropping happened. But overall, nice one. Easy to get us going. Lynn, I received yours, and I think Peter as well. I've got some of yours. If you guys have images you want to have a look at, send them through and let's chat. Right, that's it for this one. Quick and easy. And more than likely, in the next 2 weeks, we won't be having any episodes, but keep the questions coming. I'll be online because I'll be in the field. I'll be online on Snapchat, Twitter, Instagram, also hopefully Periscope, depending if it works with a guest, because that's obviously first priority for me. So maybe we'll get back on Periscope and do some live feeds from the bush as well. But Snapchat and Instagram is going to be first port of call when I'm out there. So keep your questions coming. As soon as I'm back, we'll do another episode and we'll catch up of more of your questions. Thanks for following, guys. I will see you online. My name is Gerry. I'm from Wild Eye, and I'll catch you guys next time.